organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, snow has finally hit Iowa City. We'll let you know how long it will stick around. And the caucus season is over in the state of Iowa. We'll catch you up and look ahead with our election coverage.
And in sports, the Hawkeyes look to beat their second top 15 team of the year against number 13 Michigan on Saturday.
Daily Iowan TV starts now. Thanks for tuning in to your Sunday edition of Daily Iowan TV, your television news, sports, and weather source for the Daily Iowan. I'm Jake Abrams. Well, classes may not be in session on Monday, but that's not slowing down community events in recognition of Martin Luther King Day. Two events are taking place on the University of Iowa campus. At 3 p.m., a unity march will take place, followed by a celebration of human rights. Both events will take place at the Old Capitol Museum. For more on the holiday and events going on around town, check out the Monday's edition of the Daily Iowan. But first, it was a nice surprise this winter in Iowa City with temperatures way above average and a record low amount of snow. And as Daily Iowan TV correspondent Dora Grote tells us, the lack of snowfall even put some out of work.
The area has received just 5 inches of snow so far this winter, which is much lower than the 17 inches Iowa City received in December and January last winter. But the warm weather has allowed the city to finish jobs not typically done at this time of year, like filling potholes, building shelving, and cleaning snowplows. And with at least 2 months of wintry weather ahead, city officials say there is plenty of time for more snowfall. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm Dora Grote.
And with more on the snow, Daily Iowan TV's Adam Sullivan joins us for a look at your local weather forecast. And Adam, as Dora alluded to, we were somewhat spoiled with the warm weather most of the winter so far, but now that the snow has hit town, can we expect to see it stick around all week, or is it going to warm up a little bit?
Jake, it'll warm up a little bit this week, but probably not quite enough to melt away all of that snow. It'll be just about 30 degrees Monday morning, and that'll heat up a little bit to about 37 by midday. On Monday evening, things will cool back down to around 30 degrees. We may see a few showers on Tuesday, which could wash some of that snow away. But Jake, don't get too used to these recent spike in temperatures. Back to you in the studio.
Iowa City residents are reeling following an announcement of the possible demolition of 2 local businesses. The Red Avocado and Defunct Books, located on East Washington Street, are set to be demolished. Officials said the building will be torn down to make room for a multi-purpose apartment building. Through an online petition, though an online petition has been signed by over 4,000 residents to stop the project, city officials said there may be little they can do to save the building. Well, it sounds like a false report as police now say a local woman lied about being kidnapped last fall. Kelsey Hoffman reportedly told authorities that she was grabbed and dragged to a parking ramp last September. However, police say Hoffman was out drinking the night that she said she was actually kidnapped, and she made up the story. However, UI police did charge a Des Moines woman with child endangerment last week. Police say Noreen Harold physically struck a child's back 3 times at University of Iowa hospitals and clinics last week. Police say this occurred while Harold was visiting a patient at the hospital. More to come still on Daily Iowan TV. The Iowa caucuses are wrapped up, but it's still not clear which Republican will take on Barack Obama later this year. And in sports, after their 84-match win streak last week was snapped, the Iowa wrestlers tried to start a new winning streak against Northwestern this afternoon. Well, election season is fully underway with caucus season officially ending in Iowa and in New Hampshire. And the Daily Iowan was all over the caucus coverage in Johnson County. Now Daily Iowan TV's Ryan Jones is with Haley Bruce in the newsroom to recap the caucus events. Ryan?
Thanks, Jake. I'm here with Haley Bruce, the managing editor of the Daily Iowan. Now, Haley, the Iowa caucus was 2 weeks ago. Why don't you go through with us and explain the process the Daily Iowan went to cover it?
Absolutely. We sent reporters out to several different caucus locations here in Iowa City. And while the results came in pretty late, close to around 1:30 a.m. actually, we were able to determine pretty early on that Ron Paul actually won all 5 precincts closest to the University of Iowa. And the economy was the #1 issue that Johnson County voters made their decision on that night.
Now, what did the Daily Iowan do to cover it?
We had reporters out at all the different precincts in the area, kind of some of the ones that were most important last year. And then, when they came back in, we had all the reporters kind of put their information together, and we were able to put together a couple of stories to put on the web since we weren't printing.
All right, great. Thank you very much. And Mitt Romney did actually win Iowa with just 8 votes over Rick Santorum. Back to you, Jake.
All right, thanks, Ryan. South Carolina will be the next state to vote this season. That primary kicks off next Saturday. And now Daily Iowan TV Sports' Kate Constable joins us in the studio for a look at Hawkeye sports. Kate?
Thanks, Jake. The biggest news of the break for Iowa football wasn't the dismal performance in the bowl game. It was who left afterwards. Marcus Coker became the 6th consecutive Iowa running back on scholarship to transfer from the UI. After the sophomore ran for over 1,300 yards this season, but was suspended for the Insight Bowl after a violation of team rules. After the official announcement of his transfer, it's been also revealed that Coker was named in a sexual assault on October 28th, although charges were never filed. And the Iowa men's basketball team's biggest win of the season was undeniably the road victory against number 11 Wisconsin earlier in Big Ten play. But Iowa had a chance to defeat number 13 in the country Saturday and win their first conference home game of the year. Iowa welcomed number 13 Michigan Wolverines to Carver yesterday afternoon. And here's Zach McCabe to start things off early with an inbound layup. He had scored Iowa's first 6 points and a 6-0 run to start the game. Tied at 13 with number 13, Josh Ogilby's jumper gives Iowa a lead and they didn't give up. Josh had 2 of 7 first-half points. And to end the half, Marble beats the buzzer to give Iowa a 10-point lead at the break. Iowa was up by 11 now early in the second as Eric May passes up a jumper but gets the ball to Zach McCabe falling on his stomach. McCabe finds Gatens in the corner to hit the 3. Iowa used the fast break all afternoon as Melsan Basabi dunks after Cartwright's pass to make the score 50-37. And with just over 4 minutes remaining, it's Gatens with the dagger. The 3-pointer is the last of his 19 on the day and a 15-point Iowa lead. The Hawks outscored Michigan 33-23 in the first and 42-36 in the second for a final score of 75-59. The top performers for Michigan was Trey Burke, who scored 19. Gatens also had 19 and played well defensively, holding Tim Hardaway to only 9 points. After the game, we heard from Coach Fran McCaffrey and Devin Marble about the team's defensive effort.
We're a team that shares the ball. We're an unselfish group. We're putting winning ahead of any personal achievement. And I think that's the kind of character we have in that locker room.
Yeah, we wanted to get up in them and try and disrupt their offense. They like to run that prison style offense and really make you play defense for all 35 seconds. So I think we did a good job of playing defense for the whole shot clock.
The Iowa wrestling team was in action on Sunday against the Northwestern Wildcats. The Hawks looked to remain unbeaten in Big Ten dual meets. Iowa wrestling legend Dan Gable was, of course, in Carver Hawkeye to watch the Hawks. We start the action with the 125-pounders and junior Matt McDonough getting the takedown there. He went on to win by major decision, giving the Hawks 4 points in the meet. He moves to 18-1 on the season. Next was Montel Marion at 141 pounds. The senior out of Roosevelt High School takes Northwestern freshman Pat Greco down and dominates him to a major decision of 21-7. Iowa freshman Mike Evans also continues to wrestle strong by getting the major decision for the Hawks. But the story of the match was Tony Ramos. The sophomore continues his dual meet unbeaten streak by pinning freshman Jameson Oster in the first period. The Hawks won 6 of 10 matches and won with a final score of 24-13. And as the wrestling team heads towards the last part of their season, head coach Tom Brands feels like his team is far from where they need to be.
Where am I at? We got to be ready to go. I mean, Penn State smoked these guys, and I'm not belittling Northwestern, but when you look at the results, it's 9-1, and we were 6-4. And there's a difference there. So we got to be ready. Goes without saying.
And the University of Iowa track and field teams competed this past Saturday at the New Year's Classic at the Iowa Rec Building. The events marked the season opener for both the men's and women's teams, and although no scores were officially kept, the two teams recorded 24 first-place finishes among the 4 other teams competing. Pole vault, long jump, and triple jump were just some of the events Iowa took first place in. And junior Jeff Tody's performance in the 2-mile broke a 44-year-old record previously held by head coach Larry Wazorek. The Hawks begin their season on January 21st. That's it for Hawkeye Sports. Back to you, Jake.
All right, thanks, Kate. Now, some students have gone 4 years without this feature, but some University of Iowa students will soon finally get to enjoy a renovated basement in the IMU. FEMA has rewarded the UI with an additional $6.5 million to repair flood damages to the IMU following the 2008 flood. The UI plans to use the money towards constructing a flood wall, moving the bookstore back into the basement, and building a food court and student lounge. Officials expect the renovations to be complete by August of 2014. And the Iowa City Council is moving closer to setting up red light cameras throughout the city. The council voted 4-3 in support of their installation during the last meeting on January 10th. If implemented, the cameras would be installed at 10 different intersections throughout the city. The council must vote on the cameras 2 more times before they put it in place. Children's literature was celebrated in the City of Literature here in Iowa City this afternoon. Adults and children gathered aboard the Hawkeye Express train, which stopped at the main university library. The kids and their parents had the opportunity to build Legos, draw pictures, and learn about historical events and landmarks in their community.
I think the children are getting a lot out of it. I've had some interesting questions from the kids. I think the parents are getting a lot out of it too, spending time with their kids and helping them write in their diaries.
The event, hosted by One Book, Two Books, was a collaborative effort between the university libraries and the Iowa City Public Library. And before we leave you tonight, let's take a quick look at some top stories from around the globe. At least 5 have been reported dead after a cruise ship hit land off the coast of Italy on Friday afternoon. Officials said the captain of the ship may have made significant errors that could have contributed to the accident. He has been taken into questioning. And former Penn State University president said last week the university is looking for ways to honor former football coach Joe Paterno. Paterno was fired after allegations that the coaching staff mishandled apparent sexual abuse by an assistant coach. University President Rodney Erickson spoke at a town hall meeting of nearly around 600 people and addressed questions. And officials say that the U.S. and Israeli travelers in Thailand may be terrorism targets following a recent arrest in the country. Investigators say they arrested a Lebanese man last week after suspicions that he was planning terrorist attacks at popular tourist spots in Thailand. Though the investigation is ongoing, officials are warning travelers to remain alert when out in public and be aware of any suspicious activity. And finally, President Obama is asking Congress for permission to reduce the role of the federal government. Last week, Obama said he plans to combine 6 trade and commerce agencies to make them more efficient. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek of tomorrow's print editions of the Daily Iowan. The Iowa City Council is moving forward with plans to install red light cameras in Iowa City, and read about differences in how colleges count the number of applications they receive every year. Well, that's your edition of Daily Iowan TV. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out at the same time tomorrow or anytime on dailyiowan.com.